buy a $7 million hotel that you're going to go invest $4+ million into is not easy.
So you're already looking at the next deal.
Oh yeah. Our goals are 25 million of purchases this year, 100 million in 3 years. Well, that one day we exit for, potentially 9 figures and above.
All right, welcome guys. We're here with Blake Dailey, founder of Hotel Launch Mastermind. He has owned over $30 million of real estate and is currently working on a big 130-unit hotel in Tennessee, which we'll get into. Blake, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked to talk boutique hotels as always. And other than the snow in Tennessee, I'm doing great right now. I'm ready for a full-on spring, but it's just not coming. But
let's get into it, man. Tell me how you got into real estate, because you've had this just huge trajectory from background in the military to just becoming one of the leading figures in the boutique hotel space. So tell me, how do we actually get here?
Yeah, so I bought my first piece of real estate. Well, got under contract actually while still living in temporary lodging on base at the Air Force Base when I first got stationed there, just moved out of college after graduating from the Air Force Academy. And we didn't have a place to live. So we were staying there, and you had a limited amount of time to stay on base, basically for free as part of as the military moving you. And while we were doing that, me and my wife, Nicole, we had just got married the week before, and we were writing handwritten letters out to these property owners in the area after driving for dollars. One of those hit, was right off base, went to talk to the guy, got it under contract. And we were under contract to buy our house that we were going to live in too with the VA loan. So we had these multiple things going on right from the jump. So when we closed the VA loan, moved into the house, rented the little mother-in-law suite on Airbnb, because I was it's not going to be great as a long-term rental. We've got a credit card, we've got Facebook Marketplace. We'll go figure out how to furnish it and how to do all this. And that worked out well for us. That was in July. And in August, we bought the one that we got under contract, driving for dollars. And in September, we got another one from driving for dollars as well. So that was a house hack, a BRRR, and a flip, 3 deals in my first 3 months. And I was like, dude, I'm hooked on real estate. It was really hard to focus on my military job and, be a new lieutenant and trying to learn the ropes and get into it, because I was out here making money on these real estate deals and just really enjoying it. And, part of living in this house and guest house and making money to live for free. So it covered all of our expenses down to the Wi-Fi, every expense, and paid us $100 a month in cash flow on average. And I was like, this is wild. How cool is that? And if we didn't live in this house, we'd have $2,500, $3,000 worth of just pure cash flow. So it's why don't we go find one of these, another house with a guest house? Because we can essentially get 1 or 2 units for the price of one property, because real estate agents are so bad. They either don't price in the square footage of the extra unit, or they don't make a mention of it in the listing. They just don't know how to value it. And that's what we did. So we got another one just a couple blocks away, turned it into, an Airbnb as well. And we just built this portfolio over that first year. And then my W-2 income was surpassed by my cash flow, the net cash flow of the real estate in that first year. And I was like, all right, dude, I think we're onto something. Let's keep rolling here. But I was getting kind of tapped out with having the houses all over the place. We had, I think, 11 units at that time, and I was still active duty, right? In uniform, reporting to base every day. And then in the mornings and the evenings, had to run around and do chores and do handyman work and service guests and things like that.
So you were actually doing it all yourself. You didn't have a team at this point, or you weren't paying cleaner like you guys were.
On my lunch break to go clean the unit in between guests, and we'll come back to work. And Nicole did a lot of the cleanings that early on that first year. But as we started to get, 3 and then 5, I was like, all right, we need cleaners now at least, because we just can't do it. She was getting her doctorate. I was working full time. So then we started slowly building out, and I just realized, I was like, we surpassed our 5-year goal in 1 year. I was like, we need to be thinking bigger. I didn't expect to get here so fast, but it's just the propensity towards action that was producing all the results for us. Was we need to go into commercial real estate where it's more efficient, where we can have a team on site. And that's what we did. Syndicated an apartment complex in Greensboro, North Carolina in early 2021. And around that same time, fully pivoted to boutique hotels. I think that my first boutique hotel in the apartment complex actually closed within 2 weeks of each other in early 2021, because I just saw how much effort and how little juice there was for the squeeze in the multifamily space with all the big capital coming towards that space. And I was like, why don't I just take what I know well at this point? I learned how to underwrite commercial multifamily. I learned how to capital raise. I learned how to, how the operations would work. And I knew Airbnb. I knew short-term rentals. Like if I can marry those two. So my first idea was like, why don't I just buy an apartment or a hotel actually and convert it to an apartment? Because I thought that would be more efficiently. And as I started to run the numbers, I was like, wait a second, it just works better as a hotel. Like, let's figure this out because we'll make more money.
So this was,
fell in love with it, man. I've been
you
doing
said
that
like
for
3 years ago?
This was at the very beginning of 2021. So 4.
Got it. And at that point, was there anybody doing any content around like the boutique hotel space? Like, was there anything out there, or you were just like, you've had the feeling
because
you were...
Not a single person that I know of was doing any content on it. I think the first video I put out might be like the first boutique hotel thing out there, but I called them like BRRBNBs because we were doing like the BRRRs with Airbnbs at the time. I was like, this is a big BRRBNB, or a commercial BRRBNB. I called them something like that. I didn't quite know what we were doing. I was like, it's a boutique hotel, it's a hybrid Airbnb, it's a hotel conversion. And there was so much ignorance, dude. I did not know what I didn't know. I thought they would run just like Airbnbs. I thought it'd be just as simple, just as easy, and all the good things, and kind of got, hit in the teeth by how much work it actually was. Now it's a business. It's not a side hustle anymore. It's a hospitality business. Like there's demand of guests and it requires staff and people. So really had to cut my teeth as as an entrepreneur and a business builder and systems and scale and team and culture.
So we're here with the pioneer of boutique hotels. You guys heard him here first. Tell me about that first deal, man. Like how was that first deal? Like what were the numbers on it? How big was it? And like, how did that go? And like, I know you've had a couple exits. So from the moment you bought it till that exit, like how long did that take? And if you can just walk me through that first deal in maybe a little bit more detail.
The first one I bought, which really piqued my interest on it, of like, all right, this is real. Like I can do this. Cause again, there was nowhere to turn to like an example that somebody had done this before. At least not that I knew of. And it was an 8 unit in Fort Walton Beach in Florida. So just down the coast, about an hour of where I was stationed at in Panama City Beach. And 8 units all together, laundry room and everything was on site, but they were all like long-term rented or rent by the week type of rooms. Very run down, had particle board or like compressed wood board instead of drywall. Mm-hmm. So just in really bad shape. But what stuck out to me was that it was listed for $357,000. Like this was only a little bit more than the houses that I was buying at the time for like mid 200,000s that were net cash flowing like 4,000 to 5,000 per month. So I'm like, I'm buying this 8 unit hotel all in one for 357. And then as I went there, I drove there and met with the seller. Crazy old guy, man. I mean, some of the owners of these properties blow me away. But we struck a deal, and we got 10% down, seller financing at 4.3% interest. And that's what really made it work, right? Because I just had to bring 10% down. I put a 10K EMD on the line with the contract, and then raised money from private investors. So this was basically a big BRRRR deal. Mm-hmm. Where they came in as private money. And we renovated the whole property. I mean, a full gut renovation, plumbing, drain lines, electrical, roof. Like we tore down the front wall of the building and then reassembled it from the ground up. So like at the end of this project, I learned it would have been probably cheaper to just demo the whole thing and pour a new pad and rebuild this thing. Yeah, it would have been easier to do new construction because it was during the COVID delays. So I lost, time and, money and materials went up. Contractors wanted to show up to work. So it was like the worst time to be doing a renovation because everybody was getting stimulus checks, not showing up to work. Materials were on, 3-month delays. And they were going up and just the cost of everything increased. But it worked out. I was still able to refinance, give all the investor capital back, and hold it for cash flow. And I still have that one today. And when I saw the numbers of that originally, I was like, I'm going to be able to BRRRR this thing, get all the capital back, hold it for cash flow, have a hotel that I own myself. I've got 8 units already of Airbnbs. This is 8 units all at once. Like, of course, that's going to be more efficient, more scalable. And just the idea of that, I started telling other people what I was looking for, and 2 more deals in Panama City Beach came to me in this time that would eventually make up 50 or 52 units in Panama City Beach that we owned and operated. And it was just this scalable growth that made sense, right? As you get one deal, the next deal becomes that much more efficient because now you're spreading costs over both deals, making the NOI, or the net operating income, higher on each property, which, because they're valued on the NOI, makes them each more valuable. So it's just this really scalable thing that made a lot of sense when we started to break it down. And that just meant we had to figure out the operation side, because there wasn't going to be any STR property manager that could take on that level of operation, right? They're going to want to do it their way. They're used to short-term rental guests, condo type properties and houses. Like, they can't handle and build the systems, because what I learned is it's a lot different than my residential portfolio. Like, to this day, we have different property management systems. Like, we use Cloudbeds for the hotels. We use Guesty for the STRs, different automated workflows. Like, it's just a different flow of experience and how those units are booked and rented and things like that. And the guest expectations are also different. So we had to build the management company in-house, and that created our PropCo, or property company, right? The real estate holdings, and our OpCo, or operating company, management company structure. So PropCo and OpCo, they grow together. They're kind of married up. And it created another scalable business for us, because now I could sell the management company separately. We could take on more management clients if I ever decided to do that, to grow the EBITDA and grow the value of that. So it's just been this nice ecosystem of complementary growth.
So that, you said it was 8 units, right, for that first deal?
First one was 8.
And you weren't running it pretty similar to an Airbnb, because I'm guessing there wasn't enough scale to really have an on-site property manager. And I'm guessing you probably had maybe self-check-in, or how did that deal look? Because that's pretty similar to the type of properties I was buying if I were to compare it to my 6-7 bedroom residential properties. And I'm guessing you probably could run that pretty similar to an Airbnb, or was there really that big of a difference between?
Right. Yeah, great question. And that's exactly how it works in operation, is self-check-in. So they've got the Schlegen code locks. You get the code when you book. People can show up. They get all the check-in information. They go right to their specific unit, use the code, get in, have their stay, whatever. And then, our laundry is on site. So that made it easier as well. Don't have laundry or outsourced costs, but our team in operation there looks like housekeepers, one of them being our executive housekeeper, kind of like a pseudo property manager already, or almost. So she is helping guests if they have lockouts, or if the batteries on the locks die, or if there's a noise complaint or something like that, because she lives in the area and she lives close. So we have the housekeepers and one of the leads that will also keep an stock on the inventory, order new supplies and stuff when we come in. And then we have the landscape and the handymen as well, that we use in different contractors for different things. So that operates a lot more closely to an Airbnb than the hotels as you get a little bit bigger. So since that's 8 units, there's not really a whole lot of amenity space. It's lower revenue. They've got kitchenettes, so we get a lot of longer term stays, especially in the slow season. That specific deal is not one I would buy again, but it was the one that got everything going. And if somebody would buy it from me, it's been on the market, I would love to sell it, just to clear the headspace from it and move on. No, still have it actually.
Is that the blue one that has this amenity space, with the pergola and everything? Is that the deal was that your first deal?
No, that one sold.
Okay.
Yep, that was Bahama Breeze and Panama City Beach.
If you look at Blake on social, you'll see he has some posts of his first couple deals. And cool thing about him is he's down to do anything. And you'll see him pulling up stuff in his own truck with a trailer and just bringing in cushions. He's down to just do the work that's needed to execute these projects. And that's something I really do respect about Blake.
Yeah, in the beginning, dude, we got down and dirty. It seemed like there was no other way, right? We were trying to build it from scratch. We didn't come from money. When we bought our first house, the one with the Airbnb with the guest suite, we had $2,200 in our bank account to close a house and furnish an Airbnb, and somehow get furniture in our own place. So we had lawn chairs and a big tub like a storage tub that we use as a coffee table for like 2 months while we let the Airbnb, pay back so we could buy furniture. So we started with nothing, man, and just made it happen. So we were just always really close to the business. And I think that's really built an appreciation now for what our team does on a day-to-day basis, and allows me to manage and create the systems that have really built-in scale and efficiency and quality of like an operation to consistently do well, to keep your team performing well. And for them to know that like, hey, he knows what he's talking about because he's done it.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. And let's fast forward to today, where you're now doing a 130 unit hotel room. Like, tell me about this deal that you have right now going on in the Tremont Lodge in Tennessee. But tell me about the jump that you made also. Like, what was the deal right before this? And like, how do you just decide that you're just going to go a lot bigger than you've ever done it before and go into a 130 unit deal? And just walk me through that deal, how you found it, and the type of challenges you've encountered. Cause I bet there's a lot of war stories that you've stumbled upon here.
Oh yeah, dude, I got some scars from this one already. But I will say, man, I would have never had the confidence to take down a deal as big, as operationally complex, as expensive as Tremont Lodge in Tennessee if I didn't have the experience of the other 5 hotels before that. And as a portfolio size, it looked like that 8 unit, and then an 18, and then a 20, and a 15, and a 14. So cumulatively, it was about, it went from, I guess, altogether that in the STR was like 85 units compared to 130, but similar team size and revenue size as this bigger deal. So it gave me the comfort level to make that leap. Like, this one was bigger altogether, was like the big change here. And then it had a wedding and event venue. So I was like, okay, I know what the systems look like. I know what the team looks like. I know what the structure looks like. I know what the roughly like the income, the expenses, and the management of that whole process looks like. I don't really know wedding venues and events. Like, my first wedding was my own wedding. So I don't know like what to do there, but that's the one extra piece I have to figure out. So that gave me the confidence, like, all right, I got this handled. Like, me and my team, we've done this before, right? My director of operations knows how to go in here and, turn on the housekeepers and maintenance guys and, like, get them going to do the job that they need to do. We're going to hire a great general manager from the area who's been the general manager of other hotels. We're going to bring in that experience, and then build that throughout the ranks, right? And then it's just reiterating to the team our quality standards, our systems, and our processes, how they go about their day-to-day work. And so for me, really, it was like, there's like one big risk point here, not a whole lot that you might see if like, there's no way I could have done Tremont as deal number 1, right, or even deal number 2, because I hadn't learned the lessons yet to even know what to look for and to make me good enough to be able to execute at the level me and my team are executing now. So I think as you go, your not just your confidence, but your skills, your experience, your ability, your capacity to handle situations really increases. So that's a cool thing. And you get there a lot faster with the hotels. But when we got into that one, what really caught my eye on this one was it was listed for $7 million, and it was 130 units. So 53,000 per key. And I knew that those units would make like 29 to 30,000 per key per year. So just on a unit economics basis, you're going to pay 50,000 or 53,000 for something that's going to pay you 30,000. I'll take that deal all day, right? So it made sense on the numbers. It was in a new market, but I was familiar with the Smoky Mountains. I've been here before. Me and my wife have taken vacations here, grew up coming here, because we grew up in Indiana. So it's a 7-hour drive to get down here. So we were aware of the area and the potential of just this as a short-term rental market. So those two things lined up. I was like, all right, deal, financials make sense. Market matches up. So I went to tour it, and then I walked the property. I'm like, seeing all the operational issues that we've seen on all of our other hotel deals that we've had to come in and fix, just times 2. And now it's like a whole like distribution center mess up of like the laundry room on one side of the property. And it's 130 units, but 8 different buildings. So that's like a housekeeping closet on both floors of each building.
How
so
big's the land?
Different.
Because when I was there, it just felt like it was massive.
Yeah, it's 10.5 acres of the property that we own, but like the piece that we have to maintain that's owned by the Department of Transportation up to the road is like another 2 acres. So it kind of feels, like 12.5 or so acres. But she's big, dude. There's a lot of space. It takes like 5 minutes to walk across it at a brisk pace.
Yeah, I remember when I was there,
so I walked through.
I had to walk probably for like 5 minutes just to get breakfast and coffee, and it was cold at that point. I remember, so it was like you're walking.
Hey, you get your work in there, right? People come for the natural recreation, the hiking, the national park, the trails. So it integrates well.
How did you find this deal? Was it on market, off market? How did you stumble upon this lead?
Man, it was a really interesting like off market / on market deal. It was actually a wholesaler that got in touch with the seller, got it under contract, and then she's got her name's Tammy Earp. She's pretty awesome as just a real estate investor, freaking hustler. But she got under contract, and like she has this big wholesale group that she put it out to, and somebody that was in another mastermind group that I'm in was like, "Hey, who does hotels?" And then a couple people tagged me and then sent me the lead. And that's when I looked into it. I was like, man, this really makes sense.
Did you have the YouTube channel?
People had seen it, but not really any hotel buyers.
Like, were you already, did you have that YouTube channel at that point? Like, were you already somebody that was known in the boutique hotel space? Or like what did it look like?
Slightly, yeah. I think when was that? Yeah, the mastermind had already started. The YouTube channel had started, but it was like early on into all of that. So this was like deal number 5 stabilized, and right after selling 4 of them, and being really, I guess, cash heavy for the first time, I was like, what are we going to do now? And then found this, and I was like, man, this is the challenge. This is the pursuit. I think that's worthy enough to go spend the next year doing. And that's what we've done. So it's something that like scared me and excited me at the same time, which I think is a good mix of like, it's probably an opportunity you should pursue. Right. Like you talked about the Alaska deal as like, dude, this is how many thousands of miles away from Colombia, but it's a good deal. It's a good market. It makes sense. Like there's that excitement there. Right. And the Palm Springs one, same way. So when you can find something that like makes financial sense, scares the hell out of you, but like when you think about it, like that would be awesome to do. Mm-hmm. That's something you should probably pursue. Right. And that's what I've done really with, getting to hotels in the first place is like, man, I can operate short-term rentals. Like I can give me 10 more short-term rentals. I'll, kick them in the teeth and I'm going to do great with them. Give me a hotel. I don't know. Be super exciting. I remember driving down the strip in Panama City Beach, looking at the big high rises, the hotels on the beach, just, the most beautiful beaches in the world, in my opinion, the white sand, the emerald water, and I was like, dude, how cool would that be? So now that's what I'm working up to. I'm going to go back and buy one of those one day and, stand up at the top and be like, this is what it's for.
Trump style, man.
Yep, that's right.
So tell me a little bit about the deal structure. Like how many partners do you have in this? How does it work with the capital raising? Was this a syndication? Do you have a fund? Walk me through just like the whole structure and how you're able to pull this together.
Yeah. So because I'm much more like the deal finder and operator, and did all of that for this deal. Like I didn't have any PropCo employees at the time because I sold, the last 4 hotels. So this was just like Blake out here busting it to get this deal done. Did bring in some good buddies of mine, capital raisers that were able to help bring in their investors from their network so I could focus on, closing the deal and all the lending stuff and hiring the team and building the systems and, all the things that really need to get done. But capital is such a huge piece of it. So it's like, you guys get equity in this by doing the investor relations, bringing capital, basically advisor roles in the deal. So I can just go out and execute and do what I'm good at. And that worked well because it's guys I know and respect. They've seen me come along and been part of, kind of the journey up to that point. And when they saw the economics on the deal too, they're like, yeah, it makes sense. It's a good marketplace. We like to go. We trust you. Here it is. Let's get it. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, then it was just focus mode on like getting all the capital raised. Our deal structure was we did a accredited only single asset syndication. So we raised money from, I think,
so it was a
19 or so. It was actually a weird little in between. It's called a 4A2 raise. It's kind of the worst of both worlds. I'll never do one again because you can't advertise, but you can only do accredited. But yeah, so it's a mix of like a 506B and a 506C, but it was a lot cheaper and faster to get done because when, basically 7 days in of getting us under contract, we were like fully funded. So we were like, cool, we're ready to go. Let's get the paperwork done. We'll close here pretty quick at the end of the summer. This was in 2023. And we ended up closing in December of 2023 because things did not go as planned. And I was stuck with that, deal structure, right? Because the investor backed out that we needed to raise more. I was like, man, a 506c would have been really great because then we could actually tell people about it instead of only going through our networks, people that we already had relationships with. So the future will all be 506c syndications or funds, whatever, but we'll be 506c so that we can advertise. I mean, working with accredited investors is just easier anyway, right? Higher investment amounts. They know the investment risk. They're not texting you, every month or every week trying to get updates if things aren't going as good as they want them to be. So, I mean, from my perspective, it just makes it a lot easier. But if it's your first raise, it makes sense to do 506B so you can bring in your friends and family and stuff like that. But yeah, so we closed that by raising the money, single asset syndication. We had investors, 2 big investors back out twice, like 2 different times. It was like a $2 million investor and then a $1.25 million investor. And the $1.25 million investor was the day before closing. And the seller wasn't going to extend. Like if we didn't get the money in, we lose the deal, we lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, our deposit, our EMD, our closing, our legal fees up to that point, our third party reports, all this stuff. And that was all my money in the deal. And then we had the investors already wire in for closing, but one didn't contribute. So I had to find $1 million in basically 24 hours. And I paced probably 11 miles at the hotel in one of the hotel rooms, just calling everybody, trying to make a miracle. And thankfully 2 buddies stepped up and we got the $1 million to get it closed and went right into operations. So it's been, you had asked about the lessons learned. We can get into all that, but it's been this last year doing renovations and operations of a hotel that big, man, it's been something super fun, super challenging, super rewarding, but goodness gracious, man, there's a lot of moving parts on 10 acres with 130 units and, multiple subcontracting crews and timelines and construction phases. And then you're thinking about your reviews and guest satisfaction and revenue management and your marketing. It's like, dude.
And you haven't even mentioned you have a newborn, dude. So you're like a superhuman.
And we have
right
a newborn.
now. Yeah.
And I just decided it'd be a great time to start training for an Ironman. So I've been training, a bunch recently while balancing all this. I'm like, let's just make it really hard on myself now. And it'll pay off in some way in the future, right? At least I'll be fit. And I don't know, rich, I guess, hopefully.
Yeah. You're just like this whole nother breed, dude. Have you seen this guy? What's his name? The dude that runs for like miles, crazy dude from the army as well. What's his name? He's got a book.
Man. Nick? Is his name Nick Bear? That's one of the guys I follow on Instagram.
Anyways,
David Goggins. Is he the one?
Yeah, exactly. This guy's just like going all in, like barefoot.
So you said crazy guy. It started to click. Yeah. I just picture him on my head. He's like, I'm not crazy, motherfucker. I'm just not you.
Exactly. Dude.
I've been listening to his ebook, so it's fresh.
It's gotten into your head,
man.
My long
runs, I don't like running, so I listen to him.
I see it in you, man. It's like this little bit crazy, but also knows what he's doing.
Dude, I just think it's a healthy amount of intensity to create something worthwhile is not an easy task, right? Like to buy a $7 million hotel that you're going to go invest $4+ million into is not easy. Now the one that we're looking at is 20 million, which is even crazier. So yeah, I mean,
you're already looking at the next deal.
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, one more thing on the list, right? But for me, like our goals are 25 million of purchases this year, 100 million in 3 years by the time I'm 30, when that goal was set. So 100 million assets under management by 30. To do that is not easy, right?
How old are you, Blake?
To do that is not 28. I just turned 28.
Dude, you're my same age, man.
Yeah. And you're on the same path. You're buying these hotels too, right? And you're going to be, chasing in the footsteps as well, and hopefully dodging all the potholes that I found along the way, right? So you can scale faster. That's like the whole point of the mastermind. Mm-hmm. But like to get to that point, it's not easy. It's not comfortable. It takes work. It takes, early mornings and long nights. It takes hard conversations. It takes, the network and the skill set and all those things. And I'm okay with that. Like this to me is a 10-year journey of building this company, of building this business, of creating something that I'm proud of, that's, profitable, that one day we, exit for, potentially 9 figures and above. And that's the goal that I'm working on. And that excites me. Right. So like when the days get long or when the tasks pile up, that's the motivating factor to like keep going. Right. And I think entrepreneurship is funny because you get kicked in the balls a lot, and then you get small pieces of like positive reaffirmation or positive reinforcement spread out over long intervals.
You see like
right?
the little light at the end of the tunnel, and it's enough to keep you going.
Light, dude. Yeah, sometimes you see a flicker and you're like, all right, it's still there, but a lot of times it's darkness, man. And I don't know if that's good or bad for people to hear on here, but I think it is maybe opens people's eyes to the realities of what it takes to really build something.
Yep.
And especially like depending on your goals. Yes, you can get, financially free with real estate. You can do it with short-term rentals. You can do it with boutique hotels. You can build a lifestyle business that allows you to travel and not have to work that hard. I'm just doing that while working really hard. So It can be done. I just put myself in, the Ironman, the new dad, the mastermind, the real estate business, the property management company. I just chose to do a lot because if my hands aren't moving, like if I'm idle, I'm like, I feel like I'm just wasting away.
I guess you're just doing everything right now so that you can enjoy and reap the profits in the future. So I'm sure by 35, you're already a dad. You're going to be in a different position. So you're actually you're making me want to just get out of my seat and just start doing laps right now. It's like, dude, I got to go bigger right now. Like,
just run through a wall. Yeah, dude, I think like at our age, right? Late 20s. I mean, this whole time that like I was building these big goals, like we didn't have the baby yet, which we just had, which is awesome. And is really kind of redefining these, or at least what the day-to-day looks like to get there. But I'm like, my whole purpose through my 20s was to work my ass off so that my 30s were more free, more abundant, more wealthy, more rewarding, more fun than the 99.99% of people in their 30s was my goal. Like I want to be traveling more, doing more shit, investing in companies, great relationship with my wife. We'll have kids by then. Like I'll be a great dad at all their stuff. So that's the goal right now, is to bust and to bust my ass through my 20s so that do what others won't now, so I can do what others can't later. And it's not like me versus them or anything, but like I know what I want for my life, and want to have abundance and take care of my family, and even to have nice things. It's not material driven, but yeah, I'd love to have a McLaren sitting in the driveway, right? And one day there will be paid for cash because of what we're doing now. So I think it's just a matter of like looking up to future me and visualizing what is built at that point in time. And that excites me. I'm like, that's a guy I want to go meet. That's a guy I want to go talk to. And so that's what I've been working for.
That's awesome, dude. And there's obviously a lot of different paths to get to what your goals are, or whatever you want to have in life. So why did you decide that boutique hotels was what you were going to go all in on? Because obviously you could have kept scaling your short-term rentals. You could go into multifamily, or you could be just doing something else. Like, why is this the thing you have so much conviction for, and like the thing you're just going all in? Because there's nothing else. Like, you literally burnt all your bridges. You're like the boutique hotel guy. Like, there's no way anybody can ever see you a different way. It's like you can't go do any other business. You're Blake, the boutique hotel guy. So
I know, I should just like rename my IG handle to Boutique Blake or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that was kind of the idea with like the Scale podcast. Like I just started that one, and is like I needed to have it not be related to boutique hotels or short-term rentals, because I have a lot of other interests, right? Like building businesses, health and fitness, entrepreneurship, culture, personal growth, all this other stuff. So it's like, I'm scaling, other people want to scale. As this business grows, as I grow, the things I'm interested in grow and change too. So that was the idea there. So I could talk hospitality in the beginning, like build out that niche, but also open it up to like, hey, it's not going to be the boutique hotel podcast, because yes, I'll be in boutique hotels for probably like my whole professional career, because I love it. And I'm like, how far can I push it? Like, can I build something that rivals Marriott, or that Marriott's the 9-figure buyer for me one day? If so, freaking awesome. And, that'd be great. And hopefully that's like at 35, I'm, having an exit like that, 35, 37, right? In the next like decade or less, is making that big exit, and then on to the next thing. And maybe then reinvesting in other hospitality related businesses or whatever. But yeah, I mean, as the boutique hotel guy, you kind of get niched a little bit, but hopefully offer more to people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Why are you so bullish on boutique hotels though?
I think what originally got me into it to like you were asking was I've always been a real estate guy. I like the way it was simple. Like it just seemed like a good business. There's a tangible asset, it appreciates over time. You control the value to an extent, definitely in the commercial space because you drive the income and that controls the value. So I just liked that I could see it, I could feel it, I could, walk it, I could touch it. And now with hotels, it's like all that and more that I could actually experience and utilize the hotel. Like on my vision board, this fires me up is like in the Bahamas. This is where I picture it. It's in the Caribbean. And, it's a white beach, it's palm trees, it's an infinity pool looking over, the shallow emerald water that I could just go out with a spear and spearfish or whatever, snorkel. And I'm like, I can use that. It's places that I want to be at. It's experiences that I want to have. I want to offer that to other people so that when I'm walking the property and I see a family having a great time or like couples re-engaging on an anniversary trip and just loving the weekend that they're spending there or whatever, like that stuff fires me up because I there's a traveler in me that, desires those experiences and to provide that for other people. So as it started out with real estate and it was like, then it got to short-term rentals. Like I really like the hospitality aspect. And then now it just kind of evolved as I got into commercial, syndicated the apartment complex and figured out multifamily wasn't really my shtick. I'll probably passively invest in multifamily because it's a great asset class, but it's just not for me as an operator, as a business owner, as an investor or active investor. But I really love the usability, the functionality, the lifestyle effect of hotels and resorts, and that you get to have properties in great areas. Like you can't have a multifamily property on the beach in the Caribbean. Like there's no rents that are going to make that worth it. And like the real estate that doesn't work there. Like it needs to be the resort. And I want to have prime real estate because I like the traveler in me, kind of, revels in that. So that's where it came from.
That's awesome, man. And perks of having friends like you is you'll go buy all these 100, 200 hotels, and then I'll be able to just travel and enjoy all the perks of having.
Dude, the goal is you just keep buying badass places and keep hosting these mastermind retreats at them. Everybody has a good time. It grows that way. And they're like, dude, I got to go see what this guy's doing. I got to go see this hotel. Yeah. I get to go check out this thing, have it all inclusive for, a couple of days and be around other people doing the same thing. Yep. That sounds sick.
And you're a lot like me, dude. Cause for me, like it's always been about freedom. It's always been about life by design. Like how can I basically organize my life and design my life to live the way I want to and be able to just enjoy it. Like the last thing I want is to like burn myself out and like work this 9 to 5 and like not do cool stuff. Like I want to buy hotels that I'm proud of. I want to buy them in the best destinations. I want to travel. I want to meet other cool people like you. So I always like asking this question. We've talked about freedom, but freedom means a lot of different things to different people. So in that case, like what does freedom mean to you?
The choice to, or the choice not to, the choice to like flip the bird or the choice to jump on it, like the choice to travel if you want, the choice to stay home. Like that is freedom to me. I'm way too individualistic to have something like impede what I want to do. I don't know if that's bullheadish of me or what it is, but if I want to do something, I want to like remove the barriers. Or if there's something that I would like to do, but I can't yet, I'm like, like buying the McLaren, for example, I'm like, okay, cool. What do I got to go do to get to that or get in that room or to create that opportunity? Or, this is what we didn't have growing up. How do I, what do I have to do to make sure that's not the case for my family, for my kids, right? How do I give them more opportunities? So it's like the choice to pursue or the choice to do. That's what freedom is to me.
And you're living it, man. Like every single choice you've decided you want to do something and you're doing it. So you're living proof, man. What would you say are the top 3 books that you've read that had the most impact in this whole mindset that you have? Because I can see that the mindset you have is just not the normal person that just wakes up and like you're going big, you're ambitious, you're disciplined. So what have been those like pillars that have got you to where you are right now? And is there any books, or is there anything that's really been foundational for you?
Yeah, traction probably first and foremost. Like if you're building a business, if you own a business currently, if you have the side hustle that you'd like to make a business, traction is next level. And it's immersive when you get into it. It's higher level than it was maybe applicable if you're starting out.
Yep.
But if you're in it, like I was when I read it at the time, is like it lays out how you run a small business,
Absolutely.
like how you manage your people, how you build a vision, how you create system and processes that give you your time back. And then when you have your time back, you can focus on the most high leverage, high value tasks in your business. And then it just unlocks growth and freedom for you personally. So Traction is an incredible read. I use it as like a manual now and just go back through it every year, kind of re-implement, refresh. Incredible book. Another one, I got 2 biographies for you that I just found so illuminating. One, I think the title of the book is Total Recall, maybe, or it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
It's his autobiography of him growing up in Austria, becoming, the world's best bodybuilder, becoming the world's best and highest paid actor, becoming the governor of California. Like, his life is incredible. The lessons in that book are incredible. His mindset, how he approached situations, how he thought about growth, his personal development routines, and, just thinking about these 4-hour two-a-days as he was building up to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, the bodybuilder. It just blows me away. But then that applied in all these other different areas of his life. So I love how like the athleticism, like that physical pursuit really, if you keep your mind engaged and grow personally, like you grow like physically in that scenario, what it can do for you. So that's why I think this Ironman is appealing. Is like, I got to push myself. There's got to be like pain and suffering on the way to growth. And I just think of Schwarzenegger. So maybe I got to start bodybuilding. But he had a great frame.
So
for it.
Are you
And
Blake Goggins or Blake Schwarzenegger? Which one is it, man?
Oh man, I'll take Schwarzenegger. He's a little bit more reasonable in his approach. I don't think there's another Goggins or a way to replicate Goggins. I think like the SEAL community and Delta Force and Special Ops and would be like, yeah, he's a little wild, and just one of one, man. So respect to him. He is. I can't match that. I try to get, he gives me pieces of it. So I listen to him when I run, and that's what, like, I got to push my inner bitch down. Like, I love that frame of his. Like I negative self-talk to motivate myself, like in the gym or on these long endurance runs or bikes or whatever. So that's been helpful. And then the third book is What It Takes by, I forget his first name, Schwarzman, the CEO and founder of Blackstone. So he goes into like his background, how Blackstone, originated, how they became like the biggest hedge fund in the world of, buying real estate. They at one point had the most expensive real estate transaction of all time, which was crazy. They bought that from Sam Zell, another, real estate billionaire. So just the stories in there, the deal structures, the lens of which they look through to look at deals and vet opportunities, how they have their whole executive team come together on a deal review call. That's what we do now. Based on that theory is like, I want the right heads in the right room making these big investment decisions. So that was an incredible book of like what it takes to be literally one of the most wealthy and powerful people in the world ever. So I thought that one was cool.
Awesome, dude. Yeah.
So those are my 3 books.
I haven't read the 2 biographies you mentioned, so I definitely made a note of those, and I'm going to be reading them. But
dude, strap in for Arnold Schwarzenegger's. Yeah. It is a big autobiography. There's a lot of life written about him there.
Okay.
Which makes it really good.
I love reading, so I'll definitely jump into those. But Traction for sure is an incredible book. Like, we run DL10s every week. We have everything in ClickUp with the systems, and just having the right people in the right seats and hiring people based on culture. Like, really, for anybody trying to scale a business, it's either Traction or Scaling Up, which is the same version, just written by Vern Harnish. So it's like 2 of the same, but I think maybe.
Yeah, I've read both. There's good overlap. Yeah. And I took a lot of good notes with Scaling Up, but Traction to me is just easier to implement.
That's what I was going to say.
Like, and the straightforward approach really eliminates like, what do I do? Or how do I do it? It's like, that's what you want as a business owner, is enough structure to keep your visionary mind like focused and be able to do what you need to do. Scaling up is great too.
The only thing that trips me up, and it's
guy.
hard to like explain to like new people in your team, is like, why is this rocks, and like what's issues, and like they just weird naming of everything, like the scorecard instead of KPI. So
yeah, they've all got terms. It's the terminology.
Once you get
hey, systems guy, your onboarding checklist of like, here's your glossary of terms that you need to be aware of.
We got a wiki with go here and watch these videos on EOS, and like this is what this means, and this is what a rock is, and this is what an ID is, and this is how we run an L10. But definitely it's been a game changer having those consistently and never missing a beat for the meetings. It really does keep your team on point, and then setting those goals for the year and then backtracking what you need to do every quarter. And I actually have my team set their own goals based on where the company's going. And I think giving them that autonomy to like, hey, I actually chose these goals is
There's
huge.
a line with the company goals.
Absolutely. Cool, man. As we wrap up here, tell me a little bit about your mastermind. Obviously, I'm a part of it. I love it. I'm a big proponent for people to join and check you out. So maybe just tell us about the mastermind, how many members you got, and what you do here.
Yeah, basically Hotel Launch is the high-level boutique hotel mastermind. So it's for higher-level operators, people like yourself who have, proven capacity in the real estate space, hospitality space, short-term rentals, and everybody has that baseline of like, they're dangerous already, right? They've already raised some capital. They've bought the deals. They've, managed short-term rentals and bought short-term rentals and, figured things out along the way. But as you jump into like a commercial space, there's a whole new list of things you don't know until you know.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You figure out the hard way. And man, there's one, Felipe came in. I remember we were talking about him going through due diligence, and something as simple as like knowing that it's an older hotel, meaning that it's going to have cast iron pipes, mean scope your lines all the way to the septic tank or to the city sewer connection, because it's that long drain that is going to rot out from the inside on this 60, 70-year-old cast iron. And that he was able to catch that from that conversation we had, negotiated off the cost of the mastermind in closing, credit with the seller. So it's like immediate ROI. And that's what I look for, is like, how do I get people that through due diligence, save the money, obviously help find deals, structure their deals so they know how to bring investors. And it's just that high level place for people who want to do boutique hotels and go to the next level, the accelerator for that.
Awesome, man. So you guys, you heard it here. And
that's hotel-launch.com if you guys want to check it out. Hotel Launch with a dash.
And if you guys join, Blake's actually going to keep me free for life. So go on and join, and I'll have a free.
You come in and tell me you heard this on this podcast, and I'll be like,
free for life.
You got it.
Free for life.
Yep.
No, man, it's been awesome having you, Blake. You're an awesome dude. I really admire what you're doing, and I know you're going to do huge things in this space. I appreciate all the time you dedicate as well to your students. So, how can people connect with you aside from the mastermind? Do you just want to plug your social media? We'll leave everything in the show notes, but.
Yeah, best way would be probably Instagram. You guys hit me up on there. I'll still answer my own DM. So Blake J. Dailey on Instagram. So you can go follow me on there. Hit me up if you have any questions. Happy to talk boutique hotels or point you guys in the right direction, make a connection, give a resource, like whatever I can do to help. Happy to do it.
One last thing before we actually jump off, because you made me I reminded me the time when I first tried to book a call with Blake. I actually put one of my employees to try and get on a call because I was thinking it was going to be a sales agent, and they put you through this whole funnel, and then you never actually talk to the person that's in charge of the mastermind. They have other people trying to teach, and I already know this because I've been part of so many masterminds. But when my employee jumped on, he's like, "Hey, I'm on with Blake." I'm like, "What? Send me the link." And I just jumped on, and it was him. So
when you join, you get the actual guy.
You do get the man, the myth, and the legend. So
that's right, man. I would say now the proper expectations. We do have part of our team doing those calls now. Like, we have grown, and we're doing a new deal. I've got a newborn. Like, something had to give, had to give that up. But I mean, man, that was some of the best conversations, man, because you actually I get to actually know you before you come in and know where your business is at. But I mean, the same thing is happening now. We do, custom onboarding. It's like very intentional. Like, I'm in your business essentially as a consultant, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, it's great, dude. I could talk about boutique hotels all day.
And we will, man. I'm sure we'll have another episode like this. So thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, dude. This is fun.